Hi YouTube, it's your girl Ash, and today I am back with 20 books that I want to read in 2017. I do have on a shirt just so no one thinks I am coming at you naked because there's a lot of books. I don't want this video to be too long, so let's get right into it. Up first is a series that I started this year. I read the first book, so next year I want to finish the complete series, and that is, yes, The Twilight Saga by Stephanie Meyer. I read Twilight in January of this year, and I want to read New Moon Eclipse and Breaking Dawn. I don't know how um, accurate that will be because Stephanie Myers is pretty long winded in her writing. She will have like a 20 chapter, like 20-page chapter and no page break. She's very long winded, but I'm going to try because it was on every list that I looked at for books you must read before you die. So that was the Twilight Saga with Stephanie Meyer. Up next is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I picked this up because I fell in love with the book this year called What She Knew by Gillian Macmillan, which I have a review for on my channel if you would like to hear my thoughts. And the tagline on the book was for fans of Gone Girl and The Girl on the Train. So I decided to pick this up and see if I like it as much as I do What She Knew. Found it in the thrift store. It was only 75 cents. So I was like, hey, what can you lose? Next up is also another psychological thriller, and that is Night Film by Marisha Pessel. This is the story of a washed up investigative journalist who is obsessed with this cult horror director named Stanley Cordova, and Stanley Cordova's daughter Ashley is found dead in a park in New York, and it looks like it's a suicide, but he doesn't believe it's a suicide, and so he sets out to prove it was a murder. And along the way, he just may find out he's in too deep over his head. And I cannot wait to get to this. Next up is a book from an author who has become an instant favorite of mine this year. I read her whole entire Mortal Instrument series, which I do have a series review up on my channel if you would like to hear my thoughts about it. And that is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. Lady Midnight is the first book in the Dark Artifices trilogy. Lords of Shadows comes out in May, and this follows Emma Carcer and Julian Blackthorne, who are introduced to us in City of Heavenly Fire, the last book in the Mortal Instrument series. This book takes place 5 years after that. It is a sequel to the Mortal Instrument series, so I would suggest reading it so you can better understand this first book. But if you have no desire to read it, I would say at least do um, City of Heavenly Fire, because they're introduced and given backstory in City of Heavenly Fire, which is not repeated in this book. So you may be lost reading it by itself. Up next is another series because I have decided this year that every year going on, I'll pick a completed series and I will make it my one and only reading goal that year to finish the series. So this year was the Mortal Instruments, and next year is The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I have Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Winter. I know there are two companion novels to this, but I have not decided yet if I will include them. If I like Cress, I think Cress is the third. If I like Cress, I'll get the two. It's the star, A Star Above. and Fairest, which is the story of the evil queen in here, Queen Lavana. Forgive me if I'm messing that up. Up next is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. This is the mass market paperback edition, and it comes in at 1,089 pages. It's really big. This is the story of a high school English teacher named Jake Ebbings, who is brought back in time to stop the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. I love the tagline on this book. It says Dallas 11/22/63. Three shots rang out. President John F. Kennedy is dead. I originally got this book because Hula Who came out with a 6 or an 8-part series featuring, well, starring James Franco, and I love James Franco. I will watch anything that James Franco is in, and so I wanted to read the book before watching the series. Up next is a YouTube booktube made me buy it, and it's actually two, but I only have the first book, and that is An Ember in the Ashes and A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. Up next is Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it. And this is the story of Christopher McCandless, who gives up everything he owns to move into the wild. And 4 months later, his decomposed body is found inside of a van. And I came about this because I'm really into like true crime TV show. My favorite channel ever is Investigation Discovery, and I like to watch a lot of documentaries, and I've seen multiple people tell this story of Christopher McCandless, and I wanted to read a book about it, and was suggested Jon Krakauer's book. So I can't wait to get to it. It's really short. It's only 203 pages, so it's a quick read. Up next is a book I got because I wanted to see the movie, but I'm a person who has to read the book before I see the movie in most cases, and that is Room by Emma Donoghue, which tells the story of 5-year-old Jack, who room is his whole world, and it's a it's a tale at once shocking, riveting, exhilarating, a story of unconquerable love in harrowing circumstances and of the diamond hard bond between a mother and her child. This book I've tried to read 3 times this year, and I have not been in the proper mindset, so I'm going to hopefully be in that mindset next year. This book is sometimes hard to read because it is told from Jack's perspective. Up next is I want to get into classes, and so I've deemed 2017 the year to try some classes, and I wanted to start off with an author that I already love, and so I chose to get East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I loved Of Mice and Men. The ending I still remember, and I still remember the emotions I felt after reading the ending of Mice and Men. And so, knowing that I like his style of writing, I chose to pick up East of Eden. Up next is another classic, and I found this by researching the author, and I found out that this is his favorite book he's ever written, and so I decided to start with it first, and that is Tender is the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I know everybody raves about The Great Gatsby. But if Mr. F. Scott Fitzgerald said that this is his best work, I'm going to start there first. Up next is a book that BookTube definitely made me buy, and that is Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I couldn't find one review saying anything bad about this book. It's had multiple awards. It is a big book. That's kind of what scares me. It doesn't look because the pages are so thin, but it's like close to 600 pages. This is a very big book. So I'm hoping that the hype is proven right. Up next is another booktube made me buy it, but now people don't seem to like it. They love the second in the series, and that is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, which is why I picked it up, because I love Beauty and the Beast. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And second to the last is a book that I found while watching The Young Turks, and they were discussing the fact that it had been banned in some high schools, and so I immediately knew I had to read it when I heard it was banned. And I love a previous book from this author. It made me cry so bad. I mean, an ugly cry. And that is Jodi Picoult, who is the author of one of my favorite books of all time, and that is My Sister's Keeper, which is 19 or so minutes, and this follows a school shooting in like a small New Hampshire town. And I think it was banned because it had some very explicit sex scenes in it. I think it's possibly a rape. I think that's why they said it was banned. And the last book is Savage Grace by Natalie Robbins and Stephen M.L. Arneson. And at the core, this is a book about a son who kills his mother and the secrets that come out that led to him killing his mother. It's a true crime classic. It exposes the envied lives of the rich and beautiful and brilliantly illuminates the darkest corners of the American dream. And I just happened to be in the thrift store, excuse me, I have a code, and see it. And it was only 25 cents. So I said, what can you lose? I pick it up. So those are the 20 books that I want to read in 2017, excuse me. In the comment section down below, let me know some of the books that you want to read next year. I'm always looking to add books to my year TBR. And if you feel inclined to do so, please hit that subscribe button down below. Thumbs up the video if you liked it. And please share this video. It would be graciously appreciated. And until next time.